The sharp crack of the woman's palm against the other woman's cheek echoed through the main studio like a car backfiring on a quiet street. For 1 second, the entire salon in Croydon froze. Scissors stopped mid-cut. Hairdryers dropped in pitch. Even the capital FM playing from the speakers seemed to stutter. The woman who had just been slapped stumbled back 1 step, her hand flying to her face, her eyes wide with shock, not pain. The red mark bloomed instantly on her deep brown skin. The woman who did it stood there breathing hard, her own fingers stinging, her engagement ring catching the salon lights. She had been holding that anger in for 40 minutes, and now that it was out, she did not feel better. She felt sick. "You don't get to talk about me," the woman said, her voice shaking but loud enough for everyone in the salon to hear. "You don't know me. You don't get to sit there and act like you're better than me. Know your place." The woman she slapped said nothing. She just stared, her lips parted, her breathing controlled like she was counting to 10. She was tall, dressed in a burnt orange tailored cord that probably cost more than the other woman's monthly rent, and her natural hair was pulled into a thick, coiled bun that the stylist had been prepping for a silk press. She looked expensive. She looked unbothered, and that made the first woman even angrier. Before anyone could move, the salon door swung open, and a gust of cold London air came in with it. A man walked through holding a bouquet of white lilies and a sheepish smile that died the second he saw the scene. His eyes moved from the first woman's raised hand to the second woman's red cheek, to the circle of customers all pretending to be busy. The flowers slipped an inch in his grip. "Grace," he said, his voice flat, confused. "What did you do?" Grace opened her mouth to explain, to say the woman started it, to say she was defending herself, but the man was not looking at her anymore. He was looking at the woman she had hit. His face changed. The confusion melted into something worse. Recognition. Horror. He took 1 step forward, then stopped. "Grace," he said to her, and his voice was so quiet the salon had to strain to hear it. "That's my sister. That's Maya." The world tilted. Grace felt her knees go weak. She looked at the woman again, really looked, and saw it now. The same wide forehead the man had, the same small gap between the front teeth, the same eyes. How had she not seen it? Maya did not flinch. She did not cry. She turned to the man, her expression unreadable, and said, "So this is her. This is the woman you want to marry." She picked up her mulberry tote from the counter, nodded once at the stylist who had been working on her hair, and walked out of the main studio without looking back at Grace. The man stayed for 1 more second, his eyes on Grace, and in them she saw everything she was about to lose. Then he went after his sister, and the flowers were left on the salon floor. 3 weeks earlier, Grace had been the happiest woman in South London. She was 28, a freelance events manager who had built her client list from wedding fairs in Birmingham to contracts with hotels in Mayfair, and she was engaged to Daniel Okoro, the calmest man she had ever met. He was 31, a senior software engineer at a fintech firm in Shoreditch, and he loved her in a steady, unshowy way that made her feel safe. Their wedding was set for 8 weeks from that day. The venue was booked at a country house in Surrey. The bridesmaids had ordered their sage green dresses from ASOS, and Grace's mum had already told the entire congregation at their church in Peckham that her daughter was marrying a Nigerian man with a good job. The only problem was Maya. Daniel did not talk about his family much. His father had died 5 years ago and it had fractured things. His mother lived in Enugu and called every Sunday on WhatsApp. His sister Maya lived in Canary Wharf and barely called at all. Grace had seen her once on a video call that lasted maybe 3 minutes. The connection was bad. Maya was in an Uber, and she had said congrats in a tone that could have meant anything. Daniel told Grace not to worry. "My sister is blunt," he said. "She doesn't do fake nice, but she's loyal. If she accepts you, you're in for life." Grace had laughed it off, but she remembered it. She told her best mate, Chloe, "I just pray his sister likes me. I don't do fake people. I don't do drama." Chloe had said, "Then don't start any," and they both laughed. Grace did not know then that she would be the one to start it. The week everything fell apart began on a Monday. Grace's bridal makeup artist sent a text at 6:12 a.m. "Hey love, I won't be able to do your wedding anymore. I've double booked myself, so sorry, I'll refund your deposit." Grace read it 3 times. She had paid that woman 6 months ago. She called. No answer. She texted. The reply came 2 hours later. You're a bit difficult to work with, and I don't want that energy on my brand. Grace threw her phone on the bed. That same day, Daniel's mother called on WhatsApp to discuss the traditional wedding. She had opinions about Grace's dress. Our church does not allow strapless, she said. And the slit is too high. What will people say, that we did not train our son? Grace bit her tongue until it hurt. She said, "Yes, Ma, I'll adjust it," and hung up and cried in her bathroom. By Wednesday, Daniel was working late. He came home to their flat in Bromley at midnight, kissed her forehead, and fell asleep before she could ask why he was not talking. Grace lay awake and scrolled through Maya's LinkedIn. It was all panels, speaking events, and posts about protecting your peace. There were no photos of Daniel. There were no photos of family. Grace wondered if Maya even wanted a sister-in-law. By Friday, Grace was running on 3 hours of sleep and cold PG tips. She had a final dress fitting in Camden, a cake tasting in Notting Hill, and a meeting with a photographer who doubled his price. She was supposed to be glowing. She felt like a wire about to snap. She told Chloe, "I just need one thing to go right today." Chloe said, "Go to your hair. You always feel better after a blow dry." So Grace booked an emergency slot at the main studio in Croydon. She did not know Maya had booked the same salon at the same time for the first time in 2 years. The main studio was the kind of place where the air smelled like Olaplex and money. The walls were white, the chairs were blush velvet, and the stylists wore black tunics with "main team" on the back. Grace sat in chair 3 and tried to breathe. Her stylist, Kemi, was mixing color and asking about the wedding. "You must be so excited," Kemi said. Grace forced a smile. "I'm excited and knackered," she said. "You know how it is." That was when the door opened and Maya walked in. Grace did not know her name yet. She just saw a woman who looked like she owned the room. Maya was on the phone, her voice low and precise. "I told them we're not paying for mediocrity," she was saying. "If they want our brand at their conference, they need to do better. These London events are getting sloppy." She ended the call and sat in chair 1, right next to Grace, without a glance. Her assistant, a young girl in trainers, set down a mulberry tote and a green smoothie. Maya looked at Grace once, then turned to Kemi's colleague. "I'm here for a silk press, and please, not too much small talk. I have a Teams call in an hour." Grace told herself to ignore it. She closed her eyes and tried to focus on Kemi's hands in her hair, but she could hear Maya on the phone again. These Essex weddings are so loud and tacky," Maya said. "No class, just noise and spraying money. I'm dreading Daniel." Grace's eyes flew open. Was this woman talking about her wedding? She turned her head. Maya was not looking at her. She was looking at her phone, scrolling. Grace's heart started to beat faster. She told herself to be calm. She told herself Daniel said Maya was blunt, not cruel. Maybe she did not mean it like that. Strike 2 happened 20 minutes later. Maya's assistant was passing Grace to get to the color station, and her elbow knocked over a small bowl of dye. It was a deep burgundy, and it went straight onto the plastic-covered white dress Grace had brought for her pre-wedding shoot. The dress was new from Selfridge's. The dye spread like blood. Grace gasped. "Auntie, sorry," the assistant said quickly, grabbing tissues. Maya did not look up from her laptop. "It's fine," Maya said. "Your dry cleaner can handle it." That was it. No sorry, no eye contact. Grace stood up. "Excuse me," she said. "That's a 400-pound dress." Maya finally looked at her. She looked Grace up and down slowly and shrugged. "Then you should have been more careful where you put it." The salon got quiet. Kemi put a hand on Grace's arm. "Let me help you clean it, love," she whispered. Grace sat down. Her hands were shaking. She could feel her throat closing. She was not a violent person. She had never hit anyone in her life. She told herself that if she just got her hair done and left, this would be over. Strike 3 came when Maya was talking to her stylist. "Don't give me those Instagram curls," Maya said. "I'm not trying to look like her." And she pointed. She pointed right at Grace. The stylist laughed nervously. Grace saw it in the mirror. She saw the way Maya's lip curled. She saw the way the other customers looked at her, then looked away. Something broke. All the stress of the week, the makeup artist, the mother-in-law, the dye, the dress, Daniel's silence, it all came up her throat like acid. She stood up so fast her cape fell off. She was across the salon in 3 steps. "I'm sick of you," Grace said. Her voice did not sound like hers. "You come in here with your attitude, insulting my wedding, ruining my dress, and now you're pointing at me. Who do you think you are?" Maya stood too calm. "I think I'm someone who doesn't like being in a noisy salon," she said. "And I think you need to sit down." Grace saw red. She did not think. She just swung. Her palm connected with Maya's cheek and the sound was louder than she expected. For a second, Grace could not breathe. She had done it. She had really done it. She doubled down because she was scared. "You're just jealous," Grace said. "You're just jealous you're not the bride. Know your place." That was when Daniel walked in. That was when he said the words. That was when Maya left and Grace's life ended. The first thing that happened after was silence. Then it was noise. Phones were out. Someone was recording. Kemi was saying, "Grace, you need to go." The salon owner came out from the back, a tall man in a black shirt, and he did not shout. He just said, "Both of you outside, now." But Maya was already gone and Daniel had followed her. Grace was left standing in the middle of the main studio with dye on her dress, her heart in her throat, and 20 strangers watching her. She grabbed her bag and ran. She did not stop until she was in her Mini, and then she screamed. She screamed until her throat was raw. She called Daniel. It went to voicemail. She called again. Voicemail. She called Chloe. "You did what?" Chloe said when Grace told her. There was silence on the line. "Grace, you hit her. You hit Daniel's sister." "I didn't know," Grace cried. "She didn't say her name. She was just being rude. She ruined my dress." "Did you try to talk to her first?" Chloe asked. Grace could not answer. She had not. She had gone from 0 to 100. She had let every angry, stressed, insecure part of her drive. Chloe sighed. "Go home, don't post. Don't call anyone else, just wait for Daniel." Daniel did not call for 2 days. Grace did not sleep. She did not eat. She checked Instagram every 10 minutes. The video was not up yet, but she knew it was coming. On the 3rd day, a number she did not recognize called. It was Daniel's mother. "Grace," she said, and her voice was cold. "My son is hurt. My daughter is hurt. My family is embarrassed. We saw the video. The whole church has seen the video." "Ma, I can explain," Grace started. "Explain to God," Daniel's mother said. "Because you have shown us who you are. We do not beat people in this family. We do not mock people. You are not the wife we prayed for." And she hung up. Grace called Daniel again. This time he answered. His voice sounded old. "Why?" he asked. That was all he said. "Why?" "I'm sorry," Grace said. "Daniel, I'm so sorry. I didn't know it was her. She was insulting me. She ruined my dress. I just snapped." "You snapped," Daniel repeated. "Grace, you put your hands on my sister. The sister I told you I was trying to rebuild a relationship with. The sister who flew down from Manchester to surprise me for our wedding. She came to the salon because she wanted to look good for our traditional. She was going to meet you after." Grace put her hand over her mouth. She had not known that. She had not known any of it. "I need space," Daniel said. "Don't come to the flat. Don't call my mum. I need to think." The family meeting happened on a Saturday. Grace was not invited, but Daniel's cousin told her about it. They met at the family house in Thamesmead. Daniel, Maya, their mother, 2 uncles, and an auntie. Someone played the salon video on a big TV. Grace saw herself from another angle and she looked crazy. She looked cruel. Maya spoke first. "I didn't know who she was either," Maya said. "But the moment she opened her mouth, I knew what she thought of me. She saw a black woman in a nice outfit and decided I was a threat. She decided I was the problem. She didn't ask my name. She didn't ask why I was there. She decided I was less than her and she punished me for it." Grace's cousin told her Daniel put his head in his hands. Their mother said, "A woman who cannot control her temper will burn your house down." The uncles agreed. One of them said, "If she can slap your sister in public, what will she do to your children?" Daniel did not defend Grace. He did not say anything. The meeting ended with a decision. The wedding was postponed indefinitely. Grace tried to fix it. She sent flowers to Maya's hotel in Canary Wharf. They were returned with a note, "No, thank you." She went to the hotel herself and the security guard at the front desk said, "Miss Okoro does not want visitors." She recorded a video apology and posted it on Instagram. She cried and she took accountability and she said she was wrong. The comments were brutal. "Croydon Karen. Beating someone's daughter and then saying sorry. Daniel, run." The video got 80,000 views in a day. Maya never responded. Daniel texted her once, "Please stop. You're making it worse." The wedding planner called on a Tuesday. "Grace," she said, gentle, "if you cancel now, we can save the cake deposit. But the venue in Surrey, the bridesmaids' dresses, the photographer, that's £3,200 gone. What do you want to do?" Grace did not have an answer. Her mother called her that night. "Is it true?" she asked. "Did you beat your in-law?" Grace said yes. Her mother was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "I have no words. I have prayed for you and I have failed." And she hung up. Grace sat on her bedroom floor and realized she had no one left to call. Daniel came to see her 2 weeks after the salon. He did not come inside. They stood by his car on their street in Bromley. He looked tired. He looked older. "I've been thinking," he said. "I love you, I do. But I keep seeing that video. I keep seeing my sister's face. And I keep thinking, what if we have a daughter? What if she comes home and says someone at school called her ugly and you tell her to hit them? Is that what we're teaching?" Grace wanted to say no. She wanted to say she had learned. She wanted to say she was in therapy now, that she was reading books, that she would never do it again. But she knew it did not matter. "I'm not sure I can marry you," Daniel said. "I'm not sure I can trust you with my family, and my family is everything to me." Grace nodded because her throat was closed. Daniel touched her cheek once, gently, like he used to. Then he got in his car and drove away. Maya agreed to meet Grace one last time. No Daniel, no family, just them. They met at a cafe in Canary Wharf. Maya was already there when Grace arrived. She looked the same. Expensive, calm, powerful. Grace sat down and her hands shook. "Thank you for coming," Grace said. "I didn't come for you," Maya said. "I came for me so I can close this chapter." Grace nodded. "I'm sorry," she said. "I was wrong. I was stressed and scared and I took it out on you. You didn't deserve that. No one does." Maya sipped her tea. "You didn't slap me because of dye," she said. "You slapped me because I walked into a room and didn't shrink. You slapped me because I was a black woman who didn't bow to you. You decided I was a threat before I said 2 words. You decided I was the kind of woman who needed to be put in her place. That's what hurt. Not my cheek, my dignity." Grace felt her eyes burn. She had no defense. Maya was right. She had seen a woman who was confident and she had felt small. And instead of dealing with her own insecurity, she had tried to make Maya small too. "I'm sorry," Grace said again, and this time it was just air. Maya stood up. "I accept your apology," she said, "but I don't accept you for my brother, not yet, maybe not ever. You broke something you can't fix with flowers." She left money for her tea on the table and walked out. Grace sat there for an hour. 6 months later, there was no wedding. Grace and Daniel were not together. He had moved to Manchester for work. She saw on LinkedIn that he and Maya had started a foundation in their father's name. The photo was of them laughing at a school outreach in Peckham. Grace did not like the photo. She did not comment. She was in therapy twice a week. She was learning to pause. She was learning to ask, "Why do I feel threatened?" before she spoke. She and Maya were not friends. But last month, they ended up at the same women's shelter event in Lewisham. Maya was donating laptops. Grace was teaching a workshop on event planning. They saw each other across the room. Maya nodded. Grace nodded back. It was not forgiveness. It was acknowledgement. It was a start. Grace did not get the wedding. She did not get the man. She got a lesson that cost her £3,200 and the love of her life. And every time she tells the story, she ends it the same way. "You never know who you're talking to," she says. "You never know who's somebody's sister, somebody's daughter, somebody's mother. Check yourself before you wreck your whole life. Because 1 second of anger can take away years of work. And sometimes sorry isn't enough." If this story made you feel something, do me a favor. Hit that like button so more people can learn from my mistake. Subscribe to the channel if you want part 2. I showed up at their family meeting uninvited and it got worse. And comment below, was Daniel wrong to leave Grace? Could you forgive someone who did what she did? I read every comment and I might feature yours in the next video. Thank you for listening and thank you for not judging me too harshly. We all deserve a chance to grow. The end.